one more time here with papers. This is our last paper for the semester, and we're going to be doing paper 3 is our Critical Thinking Capstone. And this is a paper that everybody who takes Humanities 115 is going to write. It's our kind of touchstone. Did we do what we're supposed to do in class? That kind of stuff for the semester. And so, excuse me, for you, the paper 3 is like the other papers we've done in 3 parts. Excuse me. It's also, I had yummy coffee, so apologies. Um, it's in 3 parts. The first part is a little bit different from something we've done before. And all 3 of these have had different beginnings. The rough drafts and the final drafts, of course, follow the same process. But for this paper, you're going to do a proposal. And part of the reason for that is we're trying to make sure that we touch on all of the kind of real world, academic world um, ways that we get at certain tasks, and to apply critical thinking to all of those. So you have practice for when you go on to your other classes. So the capstone is an application to IRL, to real life, and you're going to look at some problems that lots of people face on an ongoing basis. Some things like, how do you choose a vehicle? Um, how do you prepare for an interview? What do you do when a friend is angry with you? How do you deal with an unruly customer if you're in retail? What happens if you're the first person on the scene of an accident? Okay, and these are things that not just particular professions encounter, but folks in general. We run across these kinds of problems, maybe not the specific one, but the specific kind of problem um, on a regular basis. And so, how do we apply critical thinking to things that happen to us on a daily basis? And I hope you've learned a lot of that as we've gone along in the class, but this is a place for you to show us what you've learned. Okay. And so in the first part, the capstone is a 3-page paper, like the others we've done. It has specific grading criteria, like the others we've done. And so for you, this should not be very different. Okay, this is not a out in the woods kind of project. But your proposal is not so much, here's my answer to the question, but how I'm going to find out. Okay, now this becomes part of the project, the final paper, but we're going about it a little bit differently. And so, first of all, you have a set of 10 questions. You get to choose one. And so, why did you choose this particular question? Okay, maybe it's something that you know will be helpful for you down the road. It's something that you are used to encountering, and now you want to apply some critical thinking stuff to it. Whatever. Okay. And then the second part is, how might you find the answer to this? Who are you going to ask? Think non-traditional academic sources. Okay. Use traditional academic sources, of course, if you want, if it's pertinent to this particular problem. And then what other things can you do? Maybe you have an uncle who is the world's best mechanic, okay, and you're going to find a new car. Of course, you want to ask him, what would you what recommendations could you give me? What should I look for? Can I bring it to you so you can check it out? All those kinds of things. That's a source, and that's a personal interview source. Remember, for finding things for Works Cited page, for references pages, look at the Purdue OWL. You have a link to that under Writing Helps. It's the very first link, I think, that can help you with figuring out how to cite different kinds of sources, whether they're um, magazines, blogs, personal interviews, anytime you talk to somebody about a particular topic and you're going to use that information in your paper, that's a personal interview. Okay, you may not have set it up with interview questions and such, but it turns into a personal interview. That's just kind of the, when did you talk to them? Okay. For the third part, what types of resources might you use? Again, that list of the mechanic, the Kelley Blue Book, um, these weblogs on how to buy the best car, or the car guys that are on the radio, that kind of stuff. Okay. If you know already specific ones you want to do, by all means, start making your list, okay? The proposal should have these 3 parts, okay? And then I will check and make sure that you're on the right track, that you're actually coming towards an answer. And then the rough draft, as far as you can get down the grading criteria for that particular paper. In this case, the rough draft should have your preliminaries and then your answer to the question or your solution for the problem and your works cited page or your references page, depends on which APA MLA you want to do. Make sure that you have as much done as you possibly can by the due date, for the rough draft, and then wait for the feedback. Make sure that you do all the pieces for this particular paper like you would for any other assignment. It's always best to ask questions along the way. If you get stuck or if you think, this is kind of what I want to do, but I'm not sure it's answering the question, send me an email. Be more than happy to parse things out for you. Remember that you're waiting for feedback on the rough draft before you give me your polished, revised final draft. The polished, revised final draft is always due the last Thursday of the semester, so you have some time. I try to give you enough lead time on these that you have time to do each part and get feedback. So that's the helpful part. Make sure that you are asking questions until you understand what you should do. Even if you think, oh, I've asked her 5 times about this, that's okay. Either of us might get a little exasperated, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. I'd like to help. I want you to be confident in what you're doing and be aware that this is your best work, this is your good work, that kind of thing. The particular questions that are on the critical thinking capstone may change from semester to semester, but rest assured that you can do any of those that you find most interesting, that you think you can do your best work on, okay? When in doubt, ask questions. So that's how that goes. Have a good day.